Hey peeps, cheers to a new year. Clink,
Clink.
clink. All right, so it's 2024. How does it feel? Where are our heads now that it's 2024? Where
Oh
are
my
we at?
goodness. So I feel overwhelmed about 2024. I feel as though time is already getting ahead of me, and I already feel like, because for me, like, I've got training that I have to do, and I feel like there's just not enough hours in a day to get everything done that I want to get done. And I feel
Yeah,
like, so I already feel like everything is just kind of out of control, and I'm like, I I already feel stressed out, and I already feel overwhelmed, and I already feel like I have to take a step back and just slow down and just try and process that I can take this year slow and try to take it one step at a time, and
yeah.
that whatever I get done, I can just take it as it comes.
I think that we as people, like I said earlier, have this tendency of erasing who we are or minimizing who we are. So like if someone does or says something that does make us uncomfortable, or maybe like they don't they don't fulfill some sort of basic expectation for us. I think that it's fair to be able to to be able to communicate that and say something, right, as opposed to internalizing it. Because I mean,
Right.
let's be honest, like internalizing things can result almost, as negatively as, you know having these expectations be unfulfilled, if that makes sense.
Right, and just not being able to, like, give your opinion about something is, to me, it just seems like you're being, it's, I think you were mentioning it, is the bystander syndrome, that if you allow things to just pass, and that you're not allowed to say anything about a situation, it's sort of like we're just not allowed to say anything or do anything, that we're just this stoic, like, background characters in other people's lives, because we're not allowed to have opinions or ideas about anything, because it would be too much of an inconvenience on other people to insert anything of ourselves into other people's lives, because that would be too much of a strain on them to insert ourselves in any way
Right.
meaningful.
I personally think that there should be some degree of accountability. I mean, let's create a hypothetical scenario. Like, if something happened in our friendship and I wasn't making an effort at all, and like you had like feelings about that, and you were like, hey, like that upsets me, like, I would rather you hold me accountable and talk to me about it than internalize it and be like, well, just let Donnie do that. Like, just let Donnie, continue to just like minimize our friendship to some extent, right?
But I would
Like,
say something to you because I cared about you, and I'd be like, "What's going on with you?"
yeah, like, yeah, I think it's all about how we would frame it too. Like, if it were the reverse, I wouldn't be like, what the hell, Ari? Like, what's
I would
going
be like
on?
I would be like,
I would
"Bestie," I'd be like, "Bestie, are you okay? Are you mad at me?"
let's be honest, I would frame it the same way. I'd be like, Ari, how are things? Are you mad at me?
"Do I need to have a coffee time?"
Ari, you don't hate me, do you? Oh, so if an LGBTQ plus person chooses, how might they go about repairing their relationship with religion? So obviously, I want to note that we are not therapists. So we are only speaking from our personal experiences. Um, I will be completely blunt. The way, I mean, I won't say that I have fully repaired my relationship with religion, because I really just have no desire to be religious at this point in my life. However, I don't feel afraid when I am in the presence of religion any longer. And what helped me get to that point, of course, was therapy. And
Yeah,
represent like in any setting, representation is important. Having friends and people who were religious, who didn't weaponize it, who would use it to kind of like uplift the people around them, that gave me good quality representation when it
yeah.
comes to religion.
The thing that helped me heal my religion was the fact of just allowing myself to practice my own religion and just
Mhm.
decide, because I'm a person who is, I would say, very eclectic about my religion.
It's our last episode of Pride Month, right? Which I always feel a little bittersweet about because the Pride Month episodes are some of my favorites because we always get to talk about such fascinating things. And this episode, Living Our Best Gay Lives, was an idea that I think we came up with earlier in the year because there was a viewer who wanted to talk or hear us talk a little bit about what it means to live an enriching life as an LGBTQ plus person, right?
Mhm.
Because I do feel like the narratives that we see out there don't necessarily focus on that. What does living our best gay lives look like? I mean, are we currently living our best gay lives? What do you think?
Um, I would not say I'm living my best gay life. I would say, I would say that as far as it goes, being non-binary, I would like to be more androgynous. That it's difficult though because there's a lot of societal expectations of me to be more feminine, and that
Mm-hmm.
there's an expectation that I because people treat me and I'm coded as feminine. So um being feminine and dressing feminine and doing things in a feminine way is kind of an expectation on me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I go back and forth. Sometimes I like to dress more masculine and go towards masculine things. But there's kind of, if I do things in too masculine of a way, um, it almost is frowned upon. It's almost as like, are you trying to be trans masculine? And it's like, no, I'm not trans masculine, I'm non-binary. And it's like, are you trying to be gender fluid? And it's like, no, I'm
Mm-hmm.
non-binary. This is a difference. And it's sort of like it's straddling that line of androgyny, and but it's like, but you have parts that are feminine, and I can tell that you're a woman. And it's like, it's so hard to, if I'm too androgynous, then it's like you get the questions of, well, what are you? What are you trying to be? Like,
Yeah.
and so it's it's very it's very difficult. And
Yeah.
so I would say as far as it goes, um I'm living the best that I can right now.
But like where everyone is on their journey toward living their best gay life can vary, right? Like what you might experience as a non-binary person is going to be drastically different than what I experience as a cis gay male, right?
Mhm.
And like in many ways, like I do have a lot more privilege because I've gotten to this point in my life where I do feel like I'm kind of living my best gay life in a variety of different ways. And I define it differently than I used to as well. Like when it comes to defining like being in a good place as a gay male, I think of, what stability do I have in my life in different areas, like maybe like relationships, uh, people's respecting of my identity. And obviously, as a cis male, people absolutely respect my identity more than, say, somebody who's non binary or trans. And that's something that I think we need to carve more opportunities to discuss as well, because in our community, like that kind of gets overlooked.
But the thing about it is that you've been out of the closet longer than I have. Like, you think about it, you've been out since your 20s. I've only
Hmm.
been out since 2016, as non-binary,
Hmm.
and bisexual. So, you think about it, like that's only what, 8 years, 9
Yeah.
years.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that's not very long. I mean, I'm still, it's a growing process. So you know, getting to that comforting place of like where I'm comfortable with myself and comfortable in my identity, is a growing process. I think that there is advancement in AI, that there is some viability in AI. I think that because so what I use AI for, I like using it for like puzzles and like doing coding and stuff. And I like doing it for like I do some creative endeavors for it, but I like to do it for like video ideas too. Like if I have an idea and I'm like, spit me out some prompts for things and like I'll do that sometimes. Um I don't use it for like writing essays or like coming up with like writing the things for me because it's not smart enough to do those things. I do it for like give me, generate the title for me. And like sometimes it's not even good at doing that. It's not
So like
advanced.
you use it for like idea generation, and sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it depends. It sometimes I have to like manipulate it like enough to like get it to go. Like I have to talk it through for a while. And that's why like I like having those saved chats is because if I've worked with it enough, it'll start generating good ideas after a while. Like you have to talk to it for a little bit to kind of get those prompts working enough.
Do we want to tinker with AI really quickly here on the show?
Sure, we have a few minutes.
I want to try something here. I want to see if it can replicate like our show. So I'm gonna experiment with the prompt that says generate or create a series of podcast episodes based on the mission statement, and I'm going to copy and paste the mission statement. So I'm going to click enter. Oh! Oh!
What it gives
It created a podcast series titled Threads of Understanding. And
Yeah, I'll give you 10 ideas.
what was that?
Ask for 10 prompts. So say this is my mission statement for our show. Give me 10 ideas for episodes. So
It
did it
did
give you 10
provide
episodes?
10. Yeah, so the first is the social media revolution, connecting or dividing. Voices from the margins, social media's role in highlighting adversity. These are actually really good ideas. The power dynamics, who shapes the narrative. Episode 4, bystanders in the digital age, the ethics of observing atrocities. Episode 5, pop culture and social media.
Do you see how it's kind of just like being derivative instead of actually like doing anything? So ask for 10 more now and keep asking for episode ideas. Ask for 10 more episodes that are based on current events.
Climate crisis and social media. AI and privacy. The rise of digital currency. International conflicts in social media, the health crisis. I feel like AI can be an effective mirror if we need to use something to create some sense of self-reflection. And I think that it might help us like reorient ourselves and view things from different perspectives, but ultimately we have to do the work, right?
Right.
We like because AI is not going to do the work for us as much as we would, and we envision this solar punk world where AI and the nature live in harmony. And because going back to media, that's typically the themes we see in media, right? Like humanity versus nature versus AI.
Battle to the death.
Right.
Yeah.
So we do have another question of, do you think it'll replace human intelligence someday? I don't think it will.
It depends on whether or not we become cyborgs.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna cry.
I'm not
I'm not gonna cry.
I'm gonna try not to cry. So, everyone, welcome back to Restitching the Tapestry. It is, by our recording time, Wednesday, November 6th, 2024, the day after the election. We will talk about that here in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But you might be wondering why we're coming to you pre-recorded as opposed to live. And
Yeah, that's my fault.
well, not it's. I think it's a decision that we both mutually made. So
Yeah.
just an FYI, everybody, we are concluding Restitching the Tapestry.
Yeah.
This will be our final season. We have about, including this, 7 episodes to go, and we didn't make this decision lightly. It was a very important decision for us, and we feel good about it. But Ari, I want you to have a moment to talk about your reasoning as to why we're concluding Restitching the Tapestry.
Well, the reason why we're ending the show is mostly because of me. It's my reasoning for the ending the show. I'm not the same person that I used to be on the internet. Um, it's a long story. It has to do with my mental health mostly. It's a lot. The way that I interact online has completely changed in the last three months or so. I would say that it's gotten more dramatic in the last like month. Like October was really, really hard on me. And I've come out of October a completely different person in the way that I interact online.
I mean, I first commend you for reaching this, because I think that being able to kind of like verbalize this and actualize it, like, it can be very difficult to do, right?
Mhm.
And I think so. When Ari approached me about concluding the show, it was after our prior episode, and our prior episode did have moments where we kind of like talked about some like very heavy stuff, and that was kind of like our test run with your return, right, to see like how it would go. And I think at first you seemed very excited to do it, but then like I think I could kind of see reality hitting you a little bit while we were doing the episode.
Yeah.
And then you messaged me the next day being like, hey, like, here is where I am. And I mean, obviously I'm sad that the show is ending, because I love it very much and I love doing this with you, and but like that's not gonna change. We're still gonna have conversations. We're still gonna like, it just won't be in this type of space, right?
Right.
But I know for me, I felt at peace about this decision a little bit. I know there, like, after I made the announcement a few days ago, there were a number of listeners, including some who had like never commented, who just came out of the woodwork being like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss this. They were like, well, we find a lot of comfort in what you do. Like, is everything okay? Like, between us, like, people were worried that something was happening between us. And I was like, no, we're good. We're already.
We just always had, between Donny and I, we've always had a kind of agreement between us that if the show was not fun for us, if we both didn't like enjoy doing the show, that if it wasn't fulfilling or fun for us, then it was time to end the show. And so for me, with my mental health, because I'm not having that, it's hard for me to do the show. It wasn't fulfilling me in the way that I needed to be fulfilled, and it wasn't fun for me anymore because I was struggling with it. It was time to end.
Yeah. And as your friend, I respect that decision, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's where I was approaching it, because like, one, I respect your decision because your mental health matters. I mean, hell, we've been on this mental health journey for, like, monitoring each other's mental health, checking in with each other for a long time. But I also feel at peace, and I feel like a wholeness and a wholesomeness about the fact that we have done this much. How many podcasts can you say have gone 5 seasons, over 175 episodes?
Mhm.
We literally have spent 5 years of our life doing this almost every Thursday. And I think what's most important to me is, and I was telling this to Ari a few days ago, what's most important to me is I feel like this is an extension of our friendship. And looking back over the last 5 years, it is a collective celebration of our friendship, which I value more than anything.
I value our friendship so much. You're family to me, Donnie.
Oh, oh God, you're gonna make me cry. You're family to me too.
I was in the hospital and I was calling Donny and I left a voicemail on his phone, and he was like there for me when I was really low, and I don't, like Donny's been there for me through like thick and thin, when I was, whenever I have good days or bad days, like you've been there for me, man. You've been there for me.
Oh, you've done the
And
same. Ooh,
I hope I've been there for you.
you have absolutely been there for me. I'm
gonna miss this show so much.
I'm gonna miss it too.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I feel it too. And I hope that all of you feel the same way we do, because I've had so much fun.
I just
doing
can't
this.
do it anymore. It's just, I'm different now, and it's hard to do the show. And it's not that this is like forever, maybe like my mental health will improve someday and like we'll be able to do it again in the
Mhm.
future, but I just can't do it now.
Yeah. And I've already mentioned you, like, hey, if you ever want to come back, we can do a revival.
I know.
Not me and the damn revivals.
Because we have such good times together when we talk.
We do.
Donny,
Ari,
it's the last episode.
it's the last episode, and I don't know if I'm emotionally ready for it, but I have to be. Are you ready for the mission statement? Our last mission statement?
You want to do it together?
Yes, absolutely. I'll go first. We live in a dynamic society where social media shapes us by creating greater opportunities for connection. It has led to a developing understanding of the adversity many marginalized communities face, the powers causing the adversity, and those who act as bystanders as atrocities take place in real time.
Our goal with this show is to make connections and have challenging conversations about social topics, current events, pop culture, and art. Together, let's weave the threads of understanding with what privilege we have in order to learn, educate, and create in a world that's growing.
Let it sink in.
It's the last time.
It's the last time.
Yeah.
How are we feeling at the end of things?
Sad.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting combination for me. It's sad. It's full. It's fulfilled. I've just, Ari, we literally started this back in 2020 amid the pandemic, the George Floyd tragedy, and we felt the need to do something. We felt the need to have an important conversation and go from there. And I don't think we expected it to transform into something with this level of longevity. Did you?
I didn't. It feels like it's been such a blank. Like, I can't believe we've done 180 episodes.
I mean, I am feeling very bittersweet about it, but I'm also feeling at peace about it because I know that looking back, we did some great work. I feel like we definitely made some connections with people.
I thought that it was so specific to one thing, and it became something that was so much more than just about a protest.
Yeah. Well, it's an extension of the title, I'd say. I don't really think we've ever sat down and talked about why we came up with the title that we did. And
who did you come up with the title, or did we? I think we came up with it together.
We did come up with it together because we were initiating the show during a very pivotal moment in our history with the pandemic and the horrible thing that happened with George Floyd, like I think we were thinking about our country and the world as being like this tapestry that each of us has
had been ripped apart.
Had been ripped apart, a tapestry that each of us, I think, has some level of responsibility in maintaining. And I mean, that's why, like, the last statement in the mission statement is, together we weave the threads of understanding with what privilege we have in order to learn, educate, and create in a world that's growing. That was our motivation, because as two people, especially two white people, we understood that we do have and still have privilege, of course.
Right.
And for those of us with privilege, I think it is crucial that we learn, but also do the educating and work toward mending the damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think over the years, we've unpacked that privilege. We've also unpacked our own marginalized statuses and how they are impacted by a variety of different things. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, we've had fun, we've had serious conversations, but I think our goal with the show has always been to remind people that community is important, and we all have a role we play in maintaining community and maintaining, you know, everyone having a seat at the table. So, Ari, I mean, you're aware of this, but it is kind of as a surprise for you, but I have some segments from guests who've been on the show before who wanted to share their parting words with us to celebrate Restitching the Tapestry. And I wanted to start with a message from my dear friend Cindy, Stream of Awareness, who is a friend of the show. She's been on the show, I think, 3 or 4 times at this point. So here's a message from Cindy.
Oh gosh, my favorite memory from being on Restitching the Tapestry has to be when you guys let me on there to talk autism. Because the autistic community, we're kind of pushed to the side a bit. And the fact that I got to talk about the autistic experience, needs we have, that really meant a lot. And having a platform there, to be invited there, because usually we have to do all the work and put ourselves out there. So to be offered an invitation and a platform, I was really grateful for that, and that was a good time. So I love you guys, and it's been a great show.
We love you, Cindy. That was so sweet.
It's a great episode too. I remember that. I wasn't there for that episode. That was when I was taking a break from the show. But I remember watching that episode, and I remember kicking myself, thinking, "Oh, I wish I could have been on that episode because that was such a good episode."
So here is a message from my dear, dear friend Lacey.
Hey guys, it's just me, making a little video here to wish you guys well. I know Restitching the Tapestry is ending here pretty soon, but I believe maybe in the future that you guys will have some sort of revival. If not, I feel like this has been a great stepping stone for each and every one of you that's been on the show. It's been a pleasure to be able to do 2 interviews with you guys. One about the power of gaming, and then another one about ableism as it relates to disability and all that stuff. And I really enjoyed educating people and, talking about gaming and how it's really helped in my life. I love you all. And Ari and Heather, it's been great meeting you and talking to you. And Donny, you're my bestie. You're always going to be my bestie. You're my brother. And I love you. And no matter where you guys end up, you guys are going to do great things. I just know it. I just know it. Love you guys. Bye.
Lacey, we love you so much. That was That was so unbelievably sweet, and right back at you. You are family to me, and family to the show. Ari,
I'm
are you
okay.
okay?
I'm okay.
We're gonna get through this. I promise y'all, we're gonna get through this. So another wonderful human being who's been a very frequent guest on our show, Jared Morningstar, has a video for us, a farewell video. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Jared Morningstar. It has been such a pleasure to be an occasional guest over the last few years on Restitching the Tapestry, sharing my poetry along with my very talented friends as they shared their words to try to make a little bit of sense sometimes out of this crazy world. But doing so with a smile on their faces and hope in our minds and in our hearts. Donny and Ari, thank you for everything over the last few years on the show. Sometimes it feels like the world is coming apart at the seams, but we're all thankful. Speaking for myself and everyone else who's enjoyed the show over the years. Thank you for putting your time and effort and energy and love into restitching everything back together for us all. Thank you both so much. I'll miss you, but I'll be talking to you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Oh. Oh.
Sorry.
I'm sorry too. I've had so much fun doing this with you.
Yeah.
It's felt so good. Jared, thank you for those beautiful words, my friend. You joining us every season to do a poetry episode has been the highlight of the seasons. Your words have such power to them, and I'm glad that you were able to be a crucial part of our tapestry. This last one is from Heather, who guest co-hosted for about 10 episodes back in season 3. Here is what Heather had to say to us.
Hey, Restitching the Tapestry fans. This is Heather, one of your guest hosts from back in the day. I hope this message finds you all well. As Donny and Ari close out their show, they wanted me to pop in and talk about a little bit what it was like being on the show and share some of my more fonder memories of it. I think for me, the thing that will always stick out the most is just how nervous I was when I first started on the show. This is not in my wheelhouse. Doing something like this is totally outside my comfort zone. But as I did the show more and more, I came to realize just how special the show is. There are so few things in this life that make you feel like you belong, and this show definitely did that. Getting to meet all of you and the guest hosts and just sharing our lives and our everyday experiences is something that I will always, always treasure, just as I treasure all of you. And to Donny and Ari, thank you so much for putting yourselves out there every week for this and making people feel that they're not alone. You guys are two incredible people, so special, so wonderful. Just thank you so much. And thank you for letting me be a very small thread in a very beautiful tapestry. All the best to all of you. Keep writing, sharing your poetry, and love to all of you.
Heather, I love you so much. Thank you. I don't know if I should cry or laugh because I am so I'm emotionally a rubber band right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Now our parting words. The world is still growing. We all are threads in this tapestry. And I think we all have a responsibility to care for that tapestry, because there's a whole future out there, my friends. And it has to be woven into a beautiful future, right? Ari, how about you?
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna let you go, never gonna pull you down, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down.